History being made in the precious metals markets, the silver price, the gold price. Actually, what happened yesterday defies history. I'll explain more about that as we move through this video. Also, big warnings coming out about what this unbelievable move in the price of silver yesterday could be signaling, not just for the future of the precious metals markets, but the markets in general. Guys, I don't want to be somebody who's trying to scare people out there, but some very smart people are saying some very scary things. But one thing for sure that's not scary is that you decided to join me down here in the basement today. Thanks for being down here. We are moving through some crazy emotional times. I don't know that I slept much last night. I've got pages and pages of notes, but we want to talk about what happened. We're going to try to make a little bit of sense out of what happened. There's a lot of different theories being floated out there right now, but more importantly, visit what we think will happen in the coming months, quarters, and years. We want to have a long-term perspective on this. I'll share a story with you. It was about 8 years ago. Susie and I dropped off our then like 4-year-old twin daughters at my parents' house, and we were going out to eat. I had always been investing in gold and silver and precious metal mining stocks. It was a Sunday night. I was feeling okay, pretty good about my investments in silver and gold. I've never been very diversified, if you know what I mean. And we were sitting at dinner, and I thought, and I wanted, I knew, let me say this. I knew back then, 8, 9, 10 years ago, that gold and silver were undervalued. But we're sitting at dinner, it's Sunday night, and I just happened to pull up my phone to look at when the market opened, to look at the price of silver and gold was down $100. You know that feeling, right? Now, this was when gold was at about $1,100-$1,200 per ounce, and silver was like at $17 per ounce. I think silver was down like a whole dollar. So the price had gone down about 10%. This was in the Sunday night, I guess, when the COMEX opened, whatever, you know, the market that opens on Sunday night at 4 o'clock. And I just had that sinking feeling of panic, right? Maybe similar to what a lot of people are feeling right now. I lost my appetite. I remember we were at dinner and I thought, oh my gosh, what's going to happen? And then I knew and I believed that silver and gold were going to go much higher. Remember, gold was at $1,200 on that night, and it dropped to like $1,100. It was like $100 drop. Again, massive, almost the same percentage-wise as we had yesterday. And over the coming days, I realized, like, you know what? If you're going to be in something and you believe in something and you really objectively look at the facts involved, then stick with it and see what happens. And fast forward to today, right? If I could go back and tell that same guy 8 years ago that the gold price would still be close to $5,000 per ounce, that silver, that old Smitty, the silver bear, would still have his $85 silver blindfold off, I would be jumping for joy. But let's talk about now, right? Let's talk about what's happening right now, what has happened, and why yesterday was such a historic event on many levels. Not just historic, but it defied history. It should not have happened, okay? And I'm going to show you why in just 1 second, because I know one thing that did happen. You've decided to come down and join me here in the basement. Thank you, right? Your time is valuable. I want you to feel like you found a little home away from home down here in the basement. We love to talk about gold, silver, precious metal mining stocks. Please subscribe to the channel. That's free. Give that video, give it a thumbs up. That helps get the word out to more and more people. Leave a comment so we can learn from you. And super chats, never, ever expected, but always appreciated. And thank you to the people out there that have donated to us on PayPal as well. Now, look at this. This proves yesterday should not have happened. Okay, wait till you hear this. Yesterday's event, okay, from the Sirius report was a 10 sigma event, right, which is a statistical term that measures standard deviations. A 10 sigma event is engineered because it only happens every 5.25 septillion years. Don't worry, we're going to explain what a septillion is, because a septillion is a 1 followed by 24 zeros. Just for reference, okay, a million is 1 followed by 6 zeros. A billion is 1 followed by 9 zeros. A septillion is a 1. Go ahead and write it down yourself right now. Write down a 1 and then write 24 zeros. But that's only supposed to happen not 1 in septillion days, but 1 in a septillion years. Basically, it is impossible unless it is engineered. That's what happened today. That was yesterday. He was referring to yesterday. Anyone claiming this was a normal market move today either doesn't understand markets, is plain idiotic, or has nefarious intent to deceive you. So what happened yesterday, guys, is I've dug into this over the last hours deeply. Okay, we either had a highly coordinated takedown by the big Western banks, the big shorts, okay? Maybe China was involved. There's some people that are thinking China was involved, and or the entire system, okay? And we're going to talk about that. The big banks, the stock market, everything is in big trouble, or a combination of those. Yes, silver had gone through a rather parabolic move. But what happened yesterday should not have happened, okay? Once in a septillion year event does not happen unless highly engineered. And, you know, silver is one of the oldest markets in the world, okay? Now, did it happen in the paper market? Let's go look. Yeah, I mean, really, think about it. What happened yesterday happened in the paper market. It didn't happen with this stuff. With physical silver, that's a 1 ounce silver round from channel sponsor First Mint. No, it happened in the paper market. And let's take a look and check in on how much paper silver actually traded yesterday. Okay, International Stacker, COMEX posted the data for yesterday, and a shocking 1.842 1 billion. Wow, 1,842,000,000 fake paper ounces of silver were traded on the COMEX. That's more than the annual silver production of 835 million. It's actually more than twice of the annual physical production. Again, mines around the world working 365 days a year, 7 days a week, 24 hours a day producing silver. Okay, all the silver mines produce over the course of a year, and the COMEX traded more than twice that amount in one day. And here's a chart down here of the actual open interest. It says this is the second. He says it's hard to confirm, however, but this is the second largest trading volume day for silver in the history of the COMEX. Now, is this a declaration of war? We are in crazy, unprecedented times in the world of precious metals. Let's go. We've got some great information that came from Metals and Miners about what happens and what is actually going on right now. This is from the Metals and Miners Substack. I've got a couple paragraphs I want to read to you, because this explains the situation that silver and gold investors are in right now. It says these are not, hold on here. Again, I'll go back up to give them proper credit. Here we go to the very top, Metals and Miners Substack. And now we're on the right screen. Sorry, guys, we are super busy in real life. Also upstairs, Susie's not here to help me today. But here it is right here in red. These are not normal market moves. This is a declaration of war. It is a calculated, vicious, deliberate attack designed to inflict maximum psychological pain, to shatter our conviction, and to terrify us into surrendering our position right before the next major leg up. Many call this, quote, resetting sentiment. Others call it out-and-out attack. How do I know? Have a look at the Shanghai price. A 60% premium chasm has opened up, or even India's. They're telling a much different story regarding the same metal, and I've got some new data from China that we're going to look at the end of this. It's the tale of two metals. It's almost as if someone felt they had to do this to save themselves or to better position themselves. You decide for yourself, and that shows the premiums on the Shanghai spot and the Western spot, and also that's just Shanghai. And as you can see, right here in green, right? A $45 premium. Now, again, the Shanghai market will open earlier tomorrow, so we'll see what happens there. And I've got some up-to-date information about what is happening in China. And again, we'll look at that towards the end of this live stream. They're using the chaos to weave a narrative of fear, uncertainty, and doubt, and to show they are right in their analysis and have this whole thing all figured out. And it isn't very hard after the beating that we all took yesterday. They want us to believe as they do. The fundamentals no longer matter, right? That the debt crisis is solved, that the dollar is king and always will be, and that we're going back to the market and hegemonic world positioning of the past several decades. That the pricing in Shanghai and India, that doesn't matter, and that we were a fool to ever believe in precious metals to begin with. Do you feel it? Last paragraph in red. Point blank, they want us to sell and get out for good. They want us to sell. They need to be right. And the pit in our stomach, as we watch our portfolio values temporarily get vaporized, it makes us feel the cold dread creeping in, and we start to ask ourselves the scary questions. Were they right? What if this really is the top? What if I lose everything? What if the thesis was completely dead wrong? What if this goes sideways down for the next several years? Like he said, and this is a critical point for us to remember, okay, the documents that were leaked from when they set up the futures markets back in the mid-70s explicitly say that one of the purposes of the futures markets was to induce volatility into the precious metals markets, so to dissuade or discourage retail investors from owning precious metals. Okay, that was a leaked document. It's out there. I've shown it before. I'm sorry I don't have it prepared to show it for you today, but that was so what happened yesterday? Doesn't it make sense, right? Have the fundamentals changed? Have solar panels stopped using silver? Are solid state batteries that are going to use potentially a kilogram of silver each, have they been canceled? You know, did an asteroid enter the atmosphere that's made out of pure silver that we're just going to get? No, things have not changed. Okay. These big banks were positioned in a way that they were losing a lot of money. Look, speculation, right? And we won't go too far down that rabbit hole. But what happened yesterday, if it's only supposed to happen once in a septillion is the same as a billion times a billion times a million, if my math is correct, right? What happened yesterday? Look, they can only play these games for so long. I could be wrong. Remember, I'm not a financial advisor. Please don't make any financial decisions based on what I'm saying. It's what I believe, what I know is true, and I talk my truth when I'm down here. But man, it just doesn't feel like things are going to get any better. Next, are we in for? Is this something worse than what happened in the great financial crisis? Some very smart people, very, very smart, respected people are pointing out that what happened yesterday in I mean, think about it. This was the precious metals market, right? The safe haven, the timeless 5,000-year-old markets. Right? We're talking about assets what happened yesterday in those, if it happened in those markets, what could happen in the other markets? Cryptocurrency, the stock market, and in general. I mean, the stock market is based on a lot of fluff. Let's put it that way, right? The stock market's at nosebleed highs. We're going to talk about that. We'll do that next. First, I want to say thank you to sponsors. First, Mint. Right, they are the silver specialist mint in Las Vegas, Nevada. Right, silver comes from First Majestic, who owns First Mint. They mine the silver in Mexico. It goes to Las Vegas, Nevada, to First Mint, the silver specialist. They create world-class silver bullion products, and then they come directly to you. The best part about First Mint is the feedback that you, the basement dweller community, have given me. We all seem to agree. It is truly a premium retail silver buying experience. You can learn more about them at firstmint.com and our friends at First Mining Gold. Right, that's a development stage gold company with 2 multi-million ounce projects in Canada. Springpole in Ontario, Duparquet in Quebec, Both of those projects have millions of ounces of gold in the ground in Canada, which is a rarity. There aren't a lot of big multi-million ounce development stage projects in Canada or in favorable jurisdictions for that matter. You can learn more about them at firstmininggold.com. Now, let's get scared. I'm not trying to scare you, but this is a guy who's very smart and very much respected, who's saying that we could be in for not just what we saw in the precious metals markets yesterday could be just a bit of a harbinger for what's to come. Let's go out and check out what Larry Lepard is saying. Larry Lepard owns a big financial company. He has a master's degree from Harvard. He's all over YouTube. He's super smart. A guy that I've followed now for, probably 8 or 9 years. And he said this yesterday. We're going to talk about this point first and then get to something very scary. He says, I agree with this. Weimar-like volatility. What they're talking about is when in Germany, when the Weimar Republic fell and the Deutschmark went, that's when people were using wheelbarrows full of paper money to buy loaves of bread. When you could buy an apartment in Berlin for I think it was 5 or 10 ounces of silver. There was massive volatility during that period in the price of gold and silver as measured in the German Deutschmark at the time. He said, see my post of the Wariki Man chart. Stuff is breaking. Stocks are next, in my opinion. Know what you own. Know why you own it. Don't use leverage. Today, I made large buys of Bitcoin, MSTR, and selected silver mining stocks, 20% off sale on silver mining stocks. He was replying to this post from Whale Guru. Today's just not a gold and silver crash. Today is bigger than 2008. Gold down 20%, silver down 30% in a single day. A 40+ trillion combined market just violently repriced. I think I read $7 trillion. This does not happen in safe havens. This does not happen in orderly markets. This only happens when systems break internally. Gold and silver became the ultimate safe haven leveraged bet. Institutions, large funds, commodity desks, sovereigns, long-only allocators believe that these markets cannot crash. And guys, and then we're going to get to another warning from Larry Lepard. But another thing that happened over this weekend is we had a regional mid-sized bank in Chicago fail. And again, some people speculate that might have had something to do with what's going on. I don't know, right? We'll see what the coming weeks bring. I don't want to be the sky is falling kind of guy. But if you think about it, just take a step back and think about it, right? Gold and silver are the oldest markets in the world. Okay, gold and silver are universal. They're completely decentralized stores of value. They are valuable everywhere in the world, and they have been for all time. For that to happen, what happened yesterday in the silver and gold markets, doesn't feel does it make sense? Like it would happen in a vacuum, that there would be massive repercussions, that we could be in for some interesting times ahead. Let's go take a look at this. Another reason why we need to keep our heads pulled out of the sand, because Larry Lepard said this. He said, I've said it before and I'll say it again. What happened in silver on Friday, yesterday, is a Lehman Brothers. This is 2008 redux. So what he's referring to is that Lehman Brothers was the first problem that really showed up on the radar screen during the 2008 financial crisis. Okay, and that what we saw in silver yesterday is the same thing as that, and that we could be heading into some very, very scary times ahead. We'll see how it all plays out. But again, these things don't happen in a vacuum. And when you think about the stock market, when you think about, I mean, we don't even talk about this enough, but what happened, and it's been kind of kept undercover in the mainstream media, but the Japanese bond market in the past 2 weeks, the U.S. had to intervene. These were before the 10 sigma event that we had on Friday in silver. We'd had like 5 or 6 sigma events in the gold market, another previous one in the silver market, and the Japanese bond market. We know about all the debt. We don't have enough time today to go look at the US debt clock, but all the debt in the world, the stock markets in kind of a bubble, residential real estate. I can't believe what I could quote unquote sell this basement for right now, or your house, right? A lot of people think is in bubble territory. Commercial real estate, the bond market, it's going to be, I don't know. We'll see what happens. We will see how it all plays out. All right, let's talk about some more interesting. Are there other reasons why? Interesting coincidence with what occurred yesterday in the silver and gold markets, because there are a few more things we want to look at, interesting pieces of data. Jared Tate said this: silver down from $122 to $78 in 24 hours. Oh, interesting. It's the last day of the month and the day of physical settlement. This is 100% manipulation by Western banks. Silver still $123 on the Shanghai exchange. We're going to get some really recent data from China here in a little bit. This is East versus West. So it's the end of the month, right? So that's when a lot of reports, that's when a lot of statements go out. That's when a lot of financial reporting periods end. And it's interesting that this happened on the last trading day of the month and the last day for physical settlement. All right, let's move on to the next one. Oh, here we go. But we know, right, guys? We know, right? The banks, the big banks, they would never manipulate the price of gold and silver, would they? No, they would never do anything nefarious when it comes to precious metals. No, right? Well, let's take a look. We got some evidence we can look at here that we've talked about, but recently have not pointed out, because this is interesting. Serenity shared 5 major banks were criminally charged for manipulating silver markets. These fines totaled $1.2 billion for, quote, manipulation of silver markets through spoofing and price rigging. Silver crashed 28% on Friday, triggering trillions in losses. Here are the charges, just to review. Oh, JP Morgan comes in at number 1, had a $920 million, almost $1 billion fine in 2020. They admitting to wrongdoing for market manipulation of silver to the U.S. Department of Justice. And a couple guys went to jail over that, by the way. Number 2, Scotiabank, $128 million in 2020. U.S. Department of Justice, fraudulent and manipulative trading practices in the markets for silver. HSBC, only $80 million. Was a CFTC enforcement for 2011, 2020 spoofing. Deutsche Bank, a little $80 million fine, right? A silver fixed settlement and CFTC actions for 1999 through 2014 rigging, and Morgan Stanley, a paltry $1.5 million CFTC civil penalty for 2013-2014 spoofing. The credit goes to Navnur Bawa on that one. Okay, so hold on here. Hopefully we're still live. Hopefully you guys can still see me and hear me. Look, let us review what happened on Friday. Could not happen. It was a statistical impossibility. What's more importantly, it's psychological warfare to a certain degree. Okay, again, somewhat speculation, but somewhat truth. We know that the big banks, we know that that some of the big governments around the world do not want the silver price to go high. But we also know that we are living in a new paradigm for gold and silver. That right now, 2026, hard to believe that, right? That we are in a situation that is way different than what the world was going through over the last 50 years. Geopolitically, right? There's so much going on, but also from a financial perspective, the amount of debt in the world. And when countries don't get along with each other, right? When countries isolate themselves, okay, they don't trust each other. They don't trust each other's paper promises. And remember, this This little thing, right? Our favorite, the paper dollar, is nothing but a promise. It's not based on anything, right? Japanese yen is a paper promise, right? The Swiss franc, I think it is paper promise. The euro, paper promise. The Chinese yuan, well, maybe kind of sort of backed by gold, but you get my point. We are living in a whole new environment. This was engineered. There's no other way around it, right? Like this, if according to the statisticians, and they've only got, what, silver's only been traded officially, I guess you would say, for thousands of years. It's the oldest market out there. What happened on Friday could not happen. Another point. Sorry, guys, we are all over the place, and I am working on not a lot of sleep, but here. And then we're going to go to China and see what's happening in China. But North Star, and this is North Star bar charts. 143,000, super respected person in the world of precious metals, pointed out something great. 9 months ago, silver was trading for $30 per ounce. Silver fell $30 per ounce in the last 24 hours, but still is 3 times what it was 9 months ago. Let that sink in, okay? And there's data out there about the month of January. Believe it or not, guys, silver was up and up pretty big during the month of January as well, right? I think it was the 9th straight month that silver went up in price, which is a record. So, I know yesterday stunk. I know it feels like that article said, discouraging, right? That's normal. But please remember, it's part of the process. You know what? We're going to go out. We're going to get some great data from China, an update from what's going on in China on the ground, a very, very, very recent and timely update. But let's just go out and take a look, see if we can take a look at the updated silver chart, and should be on your screen right now. Okay, there we have it. Wow, man. I thought there were circuit breakers. I'm sorry, I can't cover everything because somebody pointed that out also, right? Like there's circuit breakers. If a price of gold or silver goes up too much, they shut the market down. And I thought they were supposed to do that on the downside as well. So here's the 1-year chart of silver. You know what's interesting? Let's just draw on here for a second. We've talked about this many times, okay? If we go back and let's say we start in April of last year and just kind of follow the trend as it developed. I mean, really, we are like right on that long-term trend line. If you see what I'm saying, like right here is where obviously we are, and we've not broken through that. Let's look at, now if we look at a longer term chart, it's going to look uglier what happened, but still, that's interesting. The price of silver, now if we drop down below and get a close in that 70 range, even if we consolidate in the, let's say, $70, and I don't think we will, and I'm not obviously I'm not hoping for it. I want old Smitty back there, the silver bear, to keep his blindfold off. But even if we do, right, can break down and consolidate in the $60, $70 per ounce range. I mean, my gosh, that, still helps us build a massive foundation as we look out. This is not a one day at a time thing. Although Friday it was, we're looking out months, quarters, and years. It helps us build a solid foundation. All the weekends, think about this. Any of the short timers that weren't really truly didn't really have strong conviction to the silver thesis, it probably gotten out now. Friday shook them out. And it may happen more over the coming weeks. But what we're going to do at some price level is rebuild, okay, on top of what's already a strong foundation of people that believe the silver price can go much, much higher. Let's go over to China and see what's happening there. Some very interesting data shared with us from China. Hold on 1 second. Yep, here we go. And yep, I'm going to get the right screen up. This came from Mr. Lee, David Lee, a very, very trusted source in China. He said the day after the silver price collapse, The Shenzhen Shubai gold market is packed with people. Now, the Shenzhen Shubai gold market, as I understand it, is one of the largest in the world, and it is packed with people. It says, but pricing of merchandise, jewelry price, not just metal, is becoming tricky. This is where it gets interesting, guys. The shops are selling at the Shanghai Gold Exchange price, which is $56.40 for gold and $136 per ounce for silver, while buying back at global prices of $4,800 for gold and $91 for silver. Let's see. Yep, I think we got a little video. Hold on a second. Hold on. Let me start this over. So this is live footage just a few hours ago from the Shubai Gold Exchange market in China and silver market, which is one of the largest in the world. Let's see if there's any people there. Looks like there's some people there. Oh, what'd she say? I don't know. I don't understand Chinese. All right, let's go back here. There's the prices there. One more interesting data point. This is from Eric Yong, King Kong 988, another super respected person with great information from China. Says this is interesting. The biggest precious metal recycler in China, Rongtong Gold, is now offering Chinese consumers a buyback price for silver at the US dollar equivalent of $101 per troy ounce, which is exempt from the value added tax, well above the prevailing international silver spot price levels during weekend physical silver trading. So interesting information from China at their biggest market, the Shubai market. Okay. They're selling to people at $136 per ounce for silver. They're buying back, what was it, $90 per ounce. However, China's biggest metals recycler will pay you and me right now, if we got on a boat together, a ship, an airplane, a private jet, whatever you prefer, and went to China with this 1 ounce, right? This is a 1 ounce Las Vegas round from First Met. Look at that thing. Boy, you know what? Silver is still so beautiful, right? So, nothing's changed. More on that in a second. We could bring this to China and sell it apparently easily for $100 per ounce. I would never do that because this is so beautiful. I wouldn't send it to a scrapyard. But I want you to think about something else really powerful. On Thursday of last week, right? What was this? This was an ounce of silver. Yeah, if you decide to use the US dollar as the unit of measurement, it was worth $120. Okay. On Friday, we know what happened. Today, what is this? Guess what? It's still an ounce of silver. Okay. And it's been about your great-great-grandpa and your great-great-grandpa's great-great-grandpa, right? From back in the, I don't know, the 1400s. This was valuable back then. It's still valuable today. Back then, they didn't even have US dollars back then. This was an ounce of silver. Today, it's still an ounce of silver. It goes back to that super important concept, and I'm guilty of it as well. We think of silver, gold, we think of so many things. We value it. We're brainwashed. If you live in the United States, whatever country you're in, it has a fiat currency, you do the same thing. Euros, yen, whatever. We think of it in terms of fiat terms, right? It's not, right? This was around long before Mr. Fiat came around, right? This was around thousands of years and valuable, and it will remain valuable. Hey, guys, thank you for joining me today. Susie's not here to help. Oh, looks like I got a super chat. Twisted Clown. All right, that's 1/15 of a house. Hey, you know what? You never know. You really never know. I was on a podcast yesterday with a big crypto guy. And you know, we said that he asked me, like, how high do you think the price of silver can go? And I said, in what time period? He said, like, the next 10 years. I'm like, the price of silver, I can't even imagine. I mean, I can easily, what do you think? Like, I can easily see, if measured in US dollars, it could be 500, 5,000, 50,000. It could be infinity, right? Because the way we're headed with the US dollar and the devaluation of the currency, who knows how high these things can go. All right, guys, thanks again. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. I want you to come back to the basement. We have a lot of fun down here. We show up, right, on good days, bad days, every day in between, because we're here for each other. It's a great, great community. So again, please subscribe to the channel, give it a thumbs up, okay? And I'll see you. I'll be on tomorrow. I'm scheduled to come on around 11 a.m. Central tomorrow. I'll look forward to seeing you then. Have a great night. Thank you for being here. Bye-bye.